Hey guys, making a quick video today. We are going to be testing a few different lights against one another. We are testing the Godox AD600, the Godox AD360ii, the Godox AD600 with an H600 head, all against one another so we know the true output difference between the lights so that you guys can figure out what the best option for you is. And I'm also going to meter a TT685 just so we know the difference between a speed light and the AD360 and then the AD600. So basically I'm going to set up a test between the three different lights, record all the power outputs so that we have some real world expectations of which light is going to be the best one for you. So much Godox gear! Alright, AD600 check, AD360, H600, and TT685. Let's do this. I'm looking for a light meter. A light meter that somebody gave me 5 hours ago. I most certainly did not lose this at all. Just so you can see how I'm trying to run this test, I have a light meter in the center of the table, and at the other end I have an octabox. Alright guys, first test. This is with the Godox AD600, and we got the meter right here in the center, and let's see what we get. Alright, so the AD600 got 22.4, F22.4, 22 and a half stops. It's actually a little bit more powerful than a test I did earlier, but I don't know what the circumstances is. Maybe it just kind of warmed up a bit, but we'll see. I've got everything turned on right now so that everything has been running. That's why it's really hot in this room. So one note about the Godox AD600, from my test earlier as well as the one I'm going through right now, that power is consistent. Obviously that was a concern for something coming out of China, you know, that was used to imitate US leading products and stuff like that. But every time that I set it up and I'm really consistent with where the meter is, I am just getting the exact 10th power output every single time. So good news for Godox AD600 owners. Now we're going to test the Godox H600 attached to the AD600 head. I did a test like this last week, and actually the H600 was looking about 2/3 stop less powerful than the Godox AD600 as a standalone unit. Alright, it's time to test the H600 head on the Godox AD600 and see how much power we lose. So the H600 just came in with 3 readings at 16.9, which is, again, nice that it's really consistent even on the head. We're getting the same power output every time. That does mean that we're losing about a half stop compared to the AD600. The AD360 actually came in with 3 results of 16.0 every time. Earlier today when I was trying it, it was 11.9. So I got, again, the same results to the 10th power each time, which is great. All these lights have just been really consistent, no power changes. Sometimes I'm cutting in and out here, but each light's getting popped about 20 times in between tests. Just for a matter of testing, we're going to throw on a TT685 and see what reading we get out of that. I realize that it's not a fair representation of power in a softbox because TT685 is obviously shooting all its power through a very narrow beam, which really isn't bouncing off the walls. It's mostly just going straight through. But I figured I'd throw it on just to see what we get. So the TT685 through the softbox gave us a rating of 8.8, 8.9, 8.8. Still pretty darn consistent. Alright guys, so taking a look at the results. The AD600 came in at 22.4 stops. The H600 head on the AD600 came in at 16.9 stops. And the AD360 came in at 16.0. If you're interested, the TT685 came in at 8.8. Basically, what we can conclude overall is that the AD360 is about 1 stop more powerful than a TT685 in the softbox. Again, not a fair representation of power. In other circumstances, you're going to get more light output out of the AD360. The AD600, however, is about 1.4 stops more powerful than the AD360. Now, given the wattage of the units, that's actually a bit surprising because the AD600, obviously 600 watts, AD360 is 360. You would expect about 2/3 or 8/10 of a stop more out of the AD600 than the AD360, but to produce 1.5 stops more, that is actually a lot more power. I did do a test on the HSS earlier, and essentially we were losing about 0.2 stops on both of them, but you're going to lose more power as you increase your shutter speed. Essentially what that's saying though is that there's not really a ton of efficiency loss by converting to HSS, so even though it is giving you that duration, you're still getting a majority of the power at the peak. So I hope that all this information is useful to you guys. I am loving this Godox system. It's really changed the way I work, and now that it's all working together, my speed lights, AD360, the mono lights, all off one unit, or if I'm using a speed light to control them all, the fact that it's all working together as opposed to trying to daisy chain multiple systems like I've been doing for years has just really helped my work. It's really sped up how I'm able to go throughout the day. Getting in and out of locations is faster. There's a lot less cables, battery packs, receivers to pack away, batteries to worry about. A lot less issues, with when a light isn't going off. Is it the batteries in the light? Is it the batteries in the receiver? Is it the batteries in the transmitter? It's really clear, if your flash dies with this system, and that's what needs to be replaced, which batteries need to be replaced. Overall, it's just really saved a lot of headaches for me on wedding days. The easier that your system is, the more you're going to be able to focus on the job, get creative, and do all the things that you want to do. I think that if you are outdoors a lot, the AD600 along with the H600 is still a great option, especially if you're a fast shooter. A lot of people are, thinking about this power output of the AD600 and saying, oh, it's such a blocky light and it's only putting out 1.5 stops more. Well, that's a heck of a lot more power. But what people aren't considering is that the recycle time of the AD600 is significantly lower than the AD360, even at their full power. So the AD600 is recycling 600 watts at 2.5 seconds, while the AD360 is taking about, in my experience, 4.5 seconds to recycle 360 watts of power. So if you have an AD600, you're going to be able to shoot a lot faster, especially if you're not at full power. Once you get to a quarter, it's pretty much instantaneous recycle, and you're still getting a majority of the power that you would get with an AD360. If you are doing location work, I would highly recommend adding the H600 with your AD600. I'm going to include links to all of the equipment that's involved in this video. I will also include at the bottom of the description the equivalent chart for all of this equipment in Flashpoint terms. If you're not aware, Godox's entire new lineup is all also available under the Flashpoint brand. They kind of rebranded it, so it all has different names and stuff, but it is the exact same equipment. I'm also going to be making a video on that, going over what exactly everything is between the two different brands, just so that people are clear. But for what's included in this, I'll make sure to include that in the description in case you want to buy it from Adorama and get a US model. I just want to show you guys what a complete train wreck my room always is after I finish up these videos. You better appreciate it.